It was very eventful, no shortage of highlights here, but the USA certainly went on the attack very early and shocked us.
They did. They really put the foot down early. They pressed onto us in our own half, forced the turnover. First couple of minutes in, we looked a little bit slow out of the blocks, and that's a wonderful finish. Vince Grella just caught a little bit on the ball. He's going to say, well, he didn't have an option to play it to. But when you're just rusty and you're warming into the game, they pounced on it. And really, from this point onwards, it was more down to the player here, Eddie. He just did a fantastic job, and that's a wonderful strike from close range.
Yeah, you don't stop those. And look, it's a clear mistake from Vince Grella. There's no doubt. And it's one thing in that first half, and maybe at times, particularly in all these preparation games, sometimes we just don't move that ball quick enough. Quick enough, and one touch, two touch in there. Vinny had a couple of touches too many. Better he does it in tonight's game than next week.
That's right. We will shortly take you back to Johannesburg and hear from the coach, Pim Verbeek, with Simon Hill. But before we do, let's have a look at the Socceroos goal. It's been described by you guys as in typical Socceroos fashion, really. Tim Cahill here.
Yeah, and what was it called? The Jabulani played a bit of part in this guy. This was incredible. You don't really see it from that angle. You see it dip there.
Right at the end. It's almost like someone's got a remote control on it and just dragged it a bit further to the far post.
That's unbelievable. And Timmy read it perfectly.
And he's got a wonderful ability at full stretch to keep control. His body, if you see how his angle of his body and the way he keeps his leg firm again and actually punches that ball, it's brilliant.
Keeps it down.
Yeah. Now, the Americans were thinking about who they were going to pair with Josie Altidore, who is out injured, or mildly injured with his ankle at the moment. But Edson Buttles...
Eddie Buttle let it crack it, didn't he?
He's Eddie, that's right.
He got the go-ahead goal, and then
with
he's got the second one as well.
With a beautiful cross here as well.
Yeah, it was wonderful work. He one-on-one, he was just too clever for Bresciano. I don't think we did a great job defensively. We had a couple of men spare who weren't really in the box marking and weren't really out helping Bresciano. I think that's the sort of thing that Pim will probably look at on the tape. You've got to get over and help out your player there and at least take that space. So if the guy does get the trick in and beat his man, you're there to cover. But once...
that we saw just a snippet of from Gomez in the dying seconds. Here it is again.
What was great here, Mel, was just their composure and their movement off the ball, and they did it time and time again, and they didn't rush it. I mean, he drove the ball across here, perhaps just putting it in a dangerous area rather than hitting straight to that man, but it's because they had bodies in good